Welcome to the Magic on the Inside podcast by the Sisters Enchanted, where we chat magic, hot topics, personal development, and good old-fashioned life. Brew up something delicious and sit with us for a spell.
Welcome to this episode of the Magic on the Inside podcast. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted.
I'm Anna, co-founder of the Sisters Enchanted.
Why are we so far away from each other?
I don't know, but when you do all those pauses and you're talking, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be catching a hint. And I'm like dropping the ball.
All right, you know what we need?
What? Glittery microphones?
I don't know. Mics that hang down upon us.
In front of our faces?
Anyway. Yeah. You just can't see us ever. No. On today's episode of the Magic on the Inside podcast, we are talking about how to get your magic back.
It's a good topic.
You think you have to talk into the mic. Not on the side.
Isn't the whole thing a microphone?
No, I don't think these work like that.
Well,
that old one does.
Seems like we should take this foam off and confirm.
Well, I wouldn't do that. It came with a different one, and then Danielle made me save it in case we needed it. But she's forward thinking, and I'm not. How to get your magic back? It's one of the questions that we get asked a lot, or maybe not us specifically get asked, but it's posted in our class groups, our community groups. We get it in email where people are like, I was working with the moon and doing like a morning ritual every day, or working with my tarot cards, and then X, Y, and Z happened, and now I just can't get back in the groove. Like, it's just not available to me anymore. Alternatively, we hear from people who say things like, well, when I was a kid, I felt really intuitive and like psychically connected, and now I don't know how to get that back. So it's actually two sort of topics, two different ways of looking at this idea of how to get your magic back. But I think that we can talk about them hand in hand. Okay. I just realized that when I told you not to bring me coffee, I wish I had said to bring me coffee.
I know. I'm all of a sudden feeling very tired as well.
By that feeling of exhaustion.
You have iced tea, and there's
caffeinated.
I think so.
I mean,
think
it's
black
enough
tea.
Caffeinated. Okay. How to get your magic back. So, Anna, have you ever in your life? Else, I never have I ever. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that.
That's a game we should play.
I know I should do that. Anna, have you ever felt like you lost your magic spark?
Yes.
Would you care to elaborate?
Would you care to elaborate? Currently.
You're like, that's me right now. So let me just sit back and listen to what you're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody who's listened to the podcast and any kind of like regular listening, I think you can tell that I've kind of had this out of touchness with my magic. And I was prepping for the social of media yesterday, and I had to pull out like 5 different tarot decks. And I all of a sudden got really sad because I had
like tarot deck memory lane.
I did. Well, because when I was pregnant and then, newborn time, I feel like I'm still in newborn time, even though that excuse is like aging out.
He's going to be like, he'll be 1, and you're going to be like, he's a newborn.
He's just my baby. He acts very baby-like in general. Those babies acting baby-like.
How dare they?
But I hadn't really been pulling cards for myself. I hadn't really been doing a lot of things for myself. And I used to journal a lot, and my journal hasn't been written in. And all of a sudden I was like, I haven't pulled cards in forever. And, even in our tarot coach program recently, I had to do a session, and that was exciting because I hadn't done like a reading for somebody in a while, and I was feeling very magical. But yeah, I'm kind of in a stagnant place.
Stagnant? Your magic feels stagnant?
Yes. Congested.
You want me to blow on it and move it around?
It's congested.
That's different. Okay.
It's stagnant and congested.
It feels like 2 different things, but we'll go with it as being one thing.
Okay.
So I think that, that happens. When interestingly, I feel like when I had kids, I didn't like lose that magicalness, but I do think, sorry, I just kicked you. I do think that over the last probably 18 months, I would say, or maybe the last year, really, I don't want to say that I feel like I've lost my magic because I don't think that's the case. I do like my lunar tracking. I still use my tarot cards regularly, but some of the stuff that I've really drifted away from, like working with candles and crystals and more tools. And I don't think it's I've drifted away necessarily. It's just this time of my life, there's other things that kind of took over. This was our first year officially homeschooling my kid. And here in Connecticut, this would be the first year of compulsory education. So, I mean, she's little, so it's like super not high stakes, but still, like, I had to think about that. Actually, I had to make sure we did it every day. And then we had a big growth spurt at the Sisters Enchanted. And I think just like the everyday mundane stuff got in the way, which is really interesting because that's the time when we most need all of our magic stuff is when the everyday mundane stuff gets in the way. And then when I was, I don't know, my early independent adult years, like early 20s or so, I just totally drifted away from like all of the things. All my witch books, my tarot cards, it all just kind of got tucked away in a box of college stuff and not opened for some time. And I think that when I really think back too, that was a time when I was trying to be a specific person in my life. Like I was trying to be in a specific relationship, have specific friends. And then now in the last year, I'm specifically trying to be the like business owner, homeschool mom who can do everything. Right? And so I think that as I'm saying this out loud, perhaps not when we are kind of trying to be something when really we are just magical people, but then maybe we feel like we've lost our magic, but we haven't maybe necessarily lost
interesting it. Because there was a time in my life and unfortunately for me, and I think this is true for a lot of folks out there, that your self-confidence and your self-worth go hand in hand a lot of times with your magic and feeling like you are super magical and being able to step into that. And as you're talking, it kind of makes me think because like you're saying that like maybe right now you're more magical than you think you are. And the same kind of goes for me because there was a time in my life not too far off, you know, definitely in the realm of the Sisters Enchanted being what it is now, that I had a time in my life where I was feeling like super duper confident in myself, but then I also look back at that time and I also don't like myself very much. Like when I look back at it, like I feel like I was very like alive and magical in that time, and I look back on it and I'm like, see, I don't think I was living my best life. I don't think that was really authentically me.
My best life.
Well, no, I don't think it was authentically me. Like, did I feel great? Did I like get up and get dressed every day and feel super awesome when I opened the door? You know, like the Kool-Aid man busting through a wall. Like I felt like that. Like every day I felt really good. But then when I look back on that, I'm like, I don't know if I liked like who I was becoming in that body, in that space. And then you think about like now, and I know, you know, as being a second time mom with many years apart, and just remembering how much your body does and stuff like that too, and how much time I have with myself, and that I don't dislike myself, but I definitely have troubles facing forward with it. But at the same time, I am super duper magical in my body right now. And like I said, I have done readings recently and they were bright and alive. And even though I wasn't feeling super adequate, I was super magical in those times. And maybe even more so than when I was more ego backed.
Yeah. So interesting. When
it just turned to being hot in here.
it is.
You turned the heat off and it got hot in here.
No, I didn't turn it off. Our heat is on and it's
Who knew?
85 degrees outside, but the heat in our office is on and it's the coolest it's been. So we don't really know what's happening, but it did just get, maybe because we're talking. Anyway, it's all of our magic energy is heating up the room.
Causing some combustion.
So All right. So times when you don't feel like you have your magic. How to get your magic back. One, look around and see if maybe it just changed. As I mentioned in the last year, I've done less of the things I was doing before, but as Anna was talking, it did occur to me that I'm doing more of other things. For example, more intentionally creating teas and like herbal tinctures and things with my family. Learning more like botany and wild foraging type stuff, which to me is very earthy, and I love that experience. We've also been spending more time in nature in general, with oceans, rivers, rocks, collecting all these little items and utilizing them. Like just the last, what are we on? The new moon in Gemini is coming up. So the last full moon, my family was on a walk, and we went to the beach, and I just stood at the ocean, like looked up to the sky and let the ocean walk over my feet, and I grabbed a seashell to bring home with me and whatever. So I think that perhaps when we feel like we've lost our magic, the first thing to do when you feel like you've lost your magic is look at just, maybe it's not lost, maybe it's just been replaced temporarily with a different invitation, a different way of being for you. So for me, like I said, I haven't really worked with, I've got buckets of crystals, and I've not been using them or working with them. But now in hearing us talk, I'm realizing, well, a lot of that was because, one, my kids, this is turning into like a parent episode of Magic on the Inside, which is not the intention, but one, like so
it's everybody's favorite.
I know, but my kids get into everything. So I have a little house, so there's not a place for me to put something that's not going to get touched. So I just kind of like collected all my crystals. The same with candles. It's very challenging. I got 2 cats and 2 kids. It's very challenging. We don't have like a fireplace mantle. We don't have a high up place that doesn't have stuff on it. There's not really a place to just light a candle and let it sit. So unless it's in the middle of our dinner table and we're doing something together, I don't just have candles lit. I go to sleep early, so there's not a lot of like nighttime for me to just be focused on things. But I've replaced that with different things I'm doing during the day. So if you feel like you were doing all these magical things and suddenly you're not, you kind of lost it all, then take a step back and just look at how that might be different for you right now. Maybe you're driving more for work or something, and you're listening to different kinds of music that are helping you get into a different mindset. That is very magical in and of itself. So I think that understanding that maybe it's just different right now, but looking for those moments. And then if you want to, actively incorporate something that seems doable. So you don't have to have like this big daily tarot spread reading practice with a journal and all this stuff with art pens and all these things I see other people doing online. And I'm like, that seems crafty. How does one get to that level of crafty?
One purchase some art pens.
Yeah. What art pens are those? I'll buy them and not use them. And you don't have to do that though. Maybe for right now, it's just, you're not using cards right now. Maybe for you, it's visualization with music while you're, doing something else. Or maybe for like me right now, wild foraging and plant identification has been a very big thing, but it's made me feel very connected to my surroundings, the elements, myself.
Right. Well, when you say that too, like I think back that yes, I had things like being pregnant and having a baby that impacted my life, but that didn't impact my ability to pull cards, because it's not like that's not like a huge draw on you physically, when you're pulling cards for yourself.
Oh, this card's so heavy.
I just have to squat to pull each one. If
only I didn't have to pick up this one.
Shuffling just
5x3, very lightweight piece of cardstock right now.
But I will also say too that during that time was also after a time where I was doing lots of readings, and that I probably, for my own magic and well-being, really needed that break and took that time almost as like an excuse to take that break from doing that. And like I said, now that I've done a few here and there, I feel that excitement again to kind of do them when you're like tuning in. And so I think that my mental space, my being, needed a break anyway from doing all of that, because it had become, it had felt less magical to me. And now that I have taken like a little bit of time and space, when I do it, it does feel magical again, because now I'm reapproaching it in a different way. I'm reapproaching it again for myself, for, for teaching, and it doesn't come with all that added stress of having to like deliver something and to do all these things. So I think that too, I think it's normal too that your body and your mind and stuff might even just say like maybe you need a little bit of a break, and that your magic, you aren't losing it, but that maybe sometimes you just do need a little bit of a break from your practice or your routine.
Just the shifting. Yeah. Like for me, I've been noticing that while I've always been a person who likes to be outdoors, I don't know that I, until the last few years, would have called myself an outdoorsy person at any point in time. Like I like to be outside just because I like sunshine and
I wouldn't call you outdoorsy either.
Yeah, no, I would not.
I say you like to be outside, but Sarah's the type that would like wear an inappropriate set of shoes and a dress on like a hike because she's not actually outdoorsy. She just like
I
wants
would not
to go
say that I'm outdoorsy. Like what's interesting is those that I don't like being inside, but I would not say that I am. Like I don't enjoy roughing it.
I was gonna say like you don't want to go rough it.
No, I know I don't want to do that. I don't want to rough it. Like I love a good hike that gets my blood pressure up. Or like gets my heart rate up. I mean, not my blood pressure, gets my heart rate up, and I'm like sweating, and it feels good and accomplished, and it's a great view. But I don't know if it's more than a few hours long, and I'm gonna be like, this is dumb. Who's got the snacks and like abandon and go home?
It's my favorite when Sarah makes me pack up for a hike and we walk like 15 minutes in and we stop and we like head back because it was just enough to get outside.
I would not. I don't like being inside by any means. It makes my skin crawl like being in four walls. But I also would not say I'm outdoorsy. I just prefer having the space around me, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, how things shift though, because I have been spending more time, as I said, like plant identification. We've been in more rivers and creeks and just bodies of water that are new to us, and really in the wild foraging and plant identification, things that I've not done much ever in the past, and I've been doing more of in the last few years. And in the last few years, the way that I also am intuitive has changed. So like I'm more, I would say now when I do a reading, it's more of a psychic reading than it is an intuitive reading often. But it's interesting because I could look at my life and say, well, I'm not using all these crystals. I'm not using all these tarot cards. I'm not doing all of the new moon and full moon rituals, and say like that I have somehow fallen out of practice, when in reality, I've become more connected to the natural world around me, spent more time getting to know the earth in a different way, and how I am
recognizing your intuition so much that it's evolved.
Yeah, it has changed. So yeah, that's just that when we think like, oh, well, I'm not doing the things, and I think that there can be a lot of pressure to like use the crystals and do the rituals and whatever. And sometimes it's just different. I don't think that I'm any less a witch or witchy because I'm not getting out my crystals and doing a ritual at every new or full moon. In fact, I would say, like I said, my psychic skills have, and it was nothing I ever set out to do, but they have enhanced like crazy in the last few years. And I think that how I look at my magical day to day looks different. But if I were not considering that, I could easily look at my day to day and say, oh, well, I've fallen out of practice. I don't have time. I'm not making time to do the rituals I could easily say that. And I think though that it's just understanding it's different than what it used to be. So how to get your magic back? Let's come up with some quick steps. I think one would be to look at what's actually happening. So what are you doing that is and can very easily be translated to something magical if you're not specifically doing it with intention right now? What could that be? Because you very possibly could have just swapped out something that like is very obviously magical for something that's less obviously magical. That's one. Look at what you're actually doing. Two, maybe consider your day-to-day life and your intention and your why. Like what is your intention for life right now? And again, are you taking action toward that intention? Because that is also magical. And three, I think this is kind of one. It's sort of the same. Just the evolution. What does that look for you right now? Look like for you right now? Does it look like a morning tarot pull? Does it look like crystals at the new and full moon? Does it look like intention charged water? a bath, a ritual bath. Like, what does that? And just pick one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do everything. Just pick one thing.
Yeah.
One thing.
That was beautiful.
I know. I have the voice of an angel.
I know. So many angels.
Whenever I speak,
It's like a choir
it's not like that at all.
of angelic beings.
Never a choir. Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell Kevin that you said my voice is like a choir of angels. And he's going to be like, more like a choir of demons raining hellfire on me.
Yeah, but it's funny because your husband actually really likes it when you sing. Even
I know, which
even
is
though it's
bizarre
ridiculous.
because I'm the worst at singing. But he gets a kick out of it. It's like his favorite thing.
It's because you make it worse on purpose.
I do make it worse. I mean, I don't know. It's already really bad, but because it's so bad, I make it worse on purpose.
Yeah, but I think that like you just never. I don't think you've ever even just tried. I think that you just were like, I'm just not good at this, and so you just immediately threw in the towel and some extra sarcasm when you sing.
That's so true. So we do.
I don't think you've even tried.
We do these quarterly reflections, our team at the Sisters Enchanted. And one of the questions I ask people on it is, what's one thing that you're just not doing well and that you're probably just never going to do well? And I want people to answer it seriously, because if you're just not good at something, I mean, sometimes like,
Remembering things. I was just like, I'm sorry, you have to put everything on a piece of paper for me with like these firm notes. Like you can't just say gather information.
No, but sometimes it's just not worth the effort to try to be better at it. Like there's some things, you want to get maybe like you want to get better at cooking or something. But like me, I am just not good at.
You played the trumpet.
I did.
You are musically inclined.
Well, like I'm not good
And the
at
piano.
At organizing other people. That's what I'm not good at organizing other people. If you can't organize yourself, then I cannot help you. And well, that's not true, because I did that literally for a living with kids and education.
Yes, you did.
I don't know. There's something I'm not good at that involves managing.
I think that you're okay
People's
on
tasks.
one-on-one,
Yeah.
not as a group.
No, when there's like 10 people and everyone's working remote and I have to manage it, I'm just like, I don't know. I told you the thing. You got to figure it out.
You have to do the thing.
But anyway, you understanding like what's just not going to be good for you. I put energy in. So that's singing for me. I just was like, this is not for me from an early age. I knew that. I've not tried.
I don't know if I have something like that. Do I have something like that? Math.
Yeah, math.
Math.
You were like, this is not for me, nor am I going to try
Yeah,
it.
no.
This math is not for me.
I've definitely taken that outlook on life. Like, yeah, that's math, and I'm not doing it.
We pulled some cards while we were reading or
did.
doing this. Well, I did. Anna pulled one. We got the King of Wands, the Lovers, the Ten of Wands, and the Fool. What's this mean for us, Anna?
I think that because the Queen of Wands is facing away.
What's the King of Wands?
It is the King of Wands. Sorry, I thought you said Queen of Wands. And your hand is on top of it.
My hand.
Your hand.
My hand.
That because they're facing away from it, I think that there is hidden confidence here, and with the Lovers, that the choice is yours of whether or not to embrace, the position that you're in, even though it's been hard because of the Ten of Wands. That it's really time to look at things from a different perspective and make a different choice so that you can carry on in a new way of being.
And be the Fool.
And be the Fool. On their way back to finding their confidence.
I like it. There your magic lies. On the journey, the quest.
I thought you said there your magic lies, like your magic's lying to you, but that's not what you meant. You were like, there it lies.
Back through the Fool.
Just beyond.
The quest. Speaking of quests, are you participating in Expedition to Soul? It's happening right now. You can still sign up, expeditiontosoul.com, and you will get the videos and links and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
do it.
Yeah, and then once you do that, there's a link to sign up for our shadow work class, which is happening, the first one in a few days. So be sure to register for that. It's free. It's good. It's great, actually.
It is great.
And yeah. All right. Well, how to get your magic back? You still have it. It's not gone.
Right.
End of story.
Huzzah.
Excelsior. Okay. Well, until next time. First, we hope you join us in Expedition to Soul in the Shadow Work class.
Yes.
Second, we hope that you have an enchanted
Rest of your day.
ahead.